guys, welcome to another sort of random video. I was upstairs using my Amiga and it just struck me the number of amazing games that Psygnosis released for not just Amiga, for the the Atari ST, and I think they also did some games for the 8-bits as well. But to me, Psygnosis is always the company that really showcased sort of graphics. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play through some of my sort of favourite Psygnosis games. I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia here. Apparently there was 71 games in total released for the Commodore Amiga. So yeah, to kick things off, this first one, now this game is quite special to me. This is Barbarian. It was the very first game that I bought on 16-bit. Now it wasn't on Amiga, it was on Atari ST, but that picture you're seeing right there, you need to try and appreciate that before I had one of these, it was Commodore 64 graphics we were used to, and to see something like that just looked absolutely mind-blowing. It really did. I mean, even now that's a gorgeous picture. But go back to 1987 and something like that just looked so far in the future. It was incredible looking. So anyway, enough sort of waffling for me. I'm just going to play the game, each kind of game, for a few minutes and just talk pish like I usually do. So yeah, Barbarian. Now hopefully we don't require a keyboard because I'm kind of sitting behind a tripod. Right, let's go. Now this is quite an unusual game because, let me see if I'm talking rubbish or not. Could you use... now you could actually use the joystick. There you go. Right, you're actually always better to use the mouse, I think. It's a strange game. You can use the joystick, but you can actually use, you've really got to sort of use, it's like an icon-driven platformer, a bleak beat-em up. Quite a strange game, but graphically it just blew me away. So let's go. It's one of these games. It's a bit like Rick Dangerous. You kind of learn by your mistakes. There's things that happen in the game which you don't know until you've already encountered it. Then the next time you play it, you need to remember. So let's just turn the volume up a wee bit so you can actually hear it. And that's also walking. Then you need to stop like so. If I remember rightly, you just keep jabbing the... That's me dead. Let's wait for him to come to us. That's it. Yeah, I don't know why they chose to use this kind of control system. Now, if you didn't know... there is actually a block going to fall on your head. Now, what is jump? Is that jump? There we go. Now see, if you'd never known that, you would have been killed. So that's what I mean, it's very much a memory game as well. Whoa. Bollocks. The thing is graphically, even now it looks really nice. I don't know why they couldn't just put the movement into a joystick. In fact, let me just try. You know, I never actually realised you can even use a joystick with it. I just thought I would give it a go. So now, how would you jump? Right, okay, it's not going to let me jump now. Oops, right, okay, so pulling down obviously makes you go down. Now what I want to do here really is go up and get the arrow, which I think gives you the bow and arrow. Right, now it's also one of the first games where the guy's not got enough intelligence to actually stop it. I'm going to have to use the mouse again. So to pick up, is it that? Nope. How do you pick up? Oh, and that makes them run. Ah. there we go. So pressing the right mouse button changes. Right, so I can kind of use, I want to run here. It's a very unwieldy control system, it has to be said. And it would have improved tenfold if they had just made it an arcade type game. Right, so down here. Once the game over, I'm going to stick something else on. Bollocks, I've not got my shot thing with. There you go, 5% complete. So that's Barbarian. Let's take a look at something else. Right, this is Barbarian 2. Obviously the sequel, I'm guessing. I've never even seen this game. The thing I loved about all these games is it was all the graphics were all designed by hand. Nowadays I'm sure there's a lot of like it's computer rendered and you know probably pictures are scanned and that kind of stuff, but back then it was all hand drawn graphics. Now I don't know if this game is going to be, is it going to be joystick? Right, I don't see a mouse cursor, so that's rather hopeful. And if you look at that is amazing. There we go, they've always addressed the issues which I was talking about. One thing about the Amiga, I don't know what it was, I know some people have told me, is why a lot of the games only seem to use the top kind of 2/3 of the screen. Oh, I saw him in the last game. So yeah, they've obviously listened to criticism and they've adopted a more arcade style game with a joystick. The movement's also a lot fluider as well. I'm guessing there must be some sort of sword we can pick up. This game actually reminds me of one of the very few 8-bit games I ever completed, Robin O' the Wood. Very similar, you kind of move along. In fact, it's almost a bit like Sabre Wolf as well. Get to a junction and you just pull down or push up. Kill the old block. And he's got a club. Can I pick up the club? Oh, what's in here? Why did I turn the sound up? It's not very loud. Whoops, just been that way. Oh, there's a gremlin. That looks like that thing out of Harry Potter, whatever it is. Right, okay. Aye, so it's kind of more, I preferred the original graphics, I have to say, but the control in this is a lot better. Although I'm not a big fan of the these kind of games where you're kind of pushing up and down on the screen to kind of move in and out of it. Anyway, that's Barbarian 2 guys, let's crack on. Okay, this is Agony. I don't quite literally mean it's Agony, this is Agony. Released in 1992. It's a sideways scroller shooter. And you know, you can just see in here or see in here I should say, the quality of the artwork and the music. That was always their real selling point for most Amiga and Atari ST owners. Just gorgeous. But anyway, let's take a look at the game. Yeah, these are just absolutely gorgeous looking. Really only turn it down a wee touch. Very stylish graphics. You know what I mean? These kind of graphics aren't what you'd expect from a sort of a vertical shoot 'em up. At the end of the day, this is kind of Nemesis, albeit with owls and other things. Really pretty looking. And as I'll prove shortly, it's as hard as nails. I'm not quite sure what that thing is. It doesn't look like I'm going to kill it anytime soon. Oh well. Some of these baddies look like something out of, these pink things look like something out of Monty Python. I don't know if you get power-ups in this game. I'm really not too sure. Killer sperm. Right, I pick that up. That's quite a nice effect that, but it's kinda, right, I must pick that up. Ah, bollocks. But as far as vertical shooters go, they really don't come much prettier than something like this. I mean, it's stunning looking. Whether it's my chosen sort of graphical style for a shoot 'em up, I'm not sure about, but you know, you certainly can't fault the amount of work that's gone into the visuals. That's game over. Yep, that's a lovely game. That is agony. So let's crack on. Right, this is Amneus, released in 1991. It's not a game I'm aware of at all. Let's take a wee shot. That's the thing back then, guys. You know, everybody had, you could upgrade your computer, so depending on what kind of hardware you had, software would detect it. Right, okay. Now, if first impressions are anything to go by. Aye, okay, so it's left and right and forward to thrust. Yeah, I mean, graphically, quite nice. The execution isn't as nice as I would hope it to be. It's no silky smooth. It kind of reminds me like a lot of the early, very early 8-bit, 16-bit games, which I guess this was 1991. It kind of reminds me of an Atari ST port. I mean, I know back in the day pretty much all Amiga games were just ported from the Atari ST, which used to annoy the hell out of Amiga owners the world over. Yeah, I mean, I've really no idea what I'm actually doing. It's nice enough, you know, can't complain too much about the graphics. It just doesn't really play as silky smooth as you would have hoped for a Psygnosis game. So anyway, yeah, listen, that's enough of that one. That's Amneus. Right, this is another one which I've never actually heard of. It's called Anarchy. I really shouldn't be listening to music because it'll probably fling a copyright claim on. Now this is actually an even earlier game. This would be a very early one. This was 1990 it came out. Never even heard of it, to be honest with you. So it's kind of Defender. I'm not quite sure what that wee blue blob is along the bottom. So yeah, it's basically a Defender type game for the Amiga. There's no real feeling of movement. Yeah, you've got your you've got your parallax scrolling shit going on at the bottom and obviously the background, but you know, your ship is completely static other than changing left and right. So yeah, it's pretty... I have no idea what that... It looks like a... I don't know what it is. Is it a pair of shoes walking or something? I don't know. Killer clouds possibly. Yeah, this game was never ever going to... It was that human being bouncing past. This game was never ever going to set the world alight. So yeah, that's Anarchy. That's one of the sort of lesser known efforts by Psygnosis. Let's take crack on. Okay, this is Armageddon, released in 1991. It's a kind of strategy type game. There was a sequel. Now, I'm not really into strategy games. I just don't have the patience or probably the skill to actually play it, but I do remember my mates playing this and I'm sure it looked quite nice. So what about we look at it? Right, like I said, I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing here. Control, auto joy, start single, yep, let's just go for that. Yeah, all this kind of stuff was super next gen, you know, these, you know, spinning vector graphics. Right, how do we actually start? I've got no idea. Pilot vehicle. Let's go for a fighter if we can. It doesn't want to let us pilot it somehow, so equipment, we've just done that one. Intel. Right, how do we start? Right, it doesn't even want to let us start that now, so I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing, guys. Apologies for this. I can stop that. But yeah, it does look really nice. It's just a pity I haven't got a clue what I'm actually doing here. No, anyway, listen, we'll batter on for that. That's Armageddon. I'm sure it's good. If you want to see that game in action, just search in YouTube and I'm sure you'll find a much better video of it than I've put together. So let's crack on. Right, this is Ballistics, and this was released in 1989. Now I remember getting this game thinking it looked the dog's bollocks, but when I actually started playing it, I wasn't too impressed with it. How do we start? Is it mouse controlled? Is it joystick? Yeah, you had all this kind of shit, you know, really smart looking sort of, you know, special effects and that kind of stuff, nice kind of static graphics. And that was, you know, a feature of most Psygnosis games. Press fire to start. That sounds like me after a Saturday night on the razzle. Right, okay, it's kind of speedball, except you're controlling this arrow. It kind of feels like below football. Ah, wait a minute. You know what exactly what it is. It's like there's a game that came out in the why can't that? There's a game that came out in the 70s called Crossfire. Basically, you had this. There was you and your opponent, one at each side, and you had a little gun that fired marbles. And you had to try and knock. It was like a puck thing into your opponent's goal, and that's exactly what this is like. But yeah, there's not an awful lot of game in it, to be honest. You know, you didn't pay a lot of money to play something like this. So yeah, that's Ballistics. This is Benefactor, released in 1994. Now this wasn't a game that I ever had because I had moved on to the PC by this point, but I have played it since, and if I remember rightly, it's a damn fine little game. Now yep, the graphics are tiny, but they move really, really nice. And I think the idea is to basically escape. Ah, bollocks. So pick up the key. There we go. How do we get up there? Can I run and jump, possibly? Ah, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. Up there. I mean, animation for these guys is really nice. And let the... Is that a small child or something? A dwarf? Who knows? I'm not picking you up. Ah, dear me, I've got to carry the child. Right, no! Well, where do you want me to go? I've got absolutely no idea. Can we drop them off the edge of the cliff? Don't know. Right, I've got no idea where I'm supposed to go now. I can't go to the edge. Can't see me go down or anything. Anyway, listen, that's enough of that one. That's Benefactor. It's a nice wee kind of puzzly type platform type thing, so go and check it out. Let's batter on. Right, this is Brian the Lion. When was it released? This was released in 1994. I remember playing this. It was kinda Psygnosis' attempt at taking on the sort of the consoles, the platform consoles, and this was their effort. I remember thinking, looks alright, but I wasn't overly impressed. It certainly wasn't Sonic. Yeah, it had nice effects, I think plenty of sort of parallax scrolling and what have you. But it just looked a bit bleh. It looked very childish. You know, graphically wise it looks alright, but I guess as a sort of 20-year-old gamer, this wasn't the kind of thing I was really wanting to play. Yeah, it was basically stealing every trick out of the book from Mario, Sonic. But it just didn't really have the sort of the charisma or the appeal of these games. You know, Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, and all these kind of companies were, what the hell was that? All these companies were trying to come up with their kind of own sort of like unique selling point, their recognised character, and this was obviously Psygnosis' one. So yeah, that's Brian the Lion. It's alright, not a big fan of it. Now to kind of coincide with the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, Psygnosis brought out this game called the Carl Lewis Challenge. Now I'm a massive fan, arcade only, I'm a massive fan of like sort of Daley Thompson's, decathlon, track and field type sporting games, and I was quite excited to get this game, but it just didn't really, it kind of missed that trick. It was kind of too, I don't know, trying to do too much. They're more interested in having smooth animation than actually having any real kind of gameplay. So here you are, you're taking part, Linford Christie, here we go. This is the 100 metres. What? Wait a minute. Why didn't I actually get to see what was going on there? Failed event? What are you talking about? Javelin. Yeah. Ah, it's just a bit... You know what I mean? It's just trying too hard to look good, and it's completely and utterly failed. The graphics look like they've been drawn by a child with crayons. Oh, she's got a nice bum written off. Right, come on, how'd I throw it? Yeah, I thought it was pish then, and it's still pish. Let's crack on. Okay, Combat Air Patrol, released according to this in 1993, and obviously it's a flight simulation, which meant I won't have a clue how to play it, because as much as I think these games look amazing, again I just don't have the skill or the patience to actually play them. So we'll take a wee look anyway and see what it looks like. Hopefully there might be some kind of demo mode. Let's go for English. Security check. Oh, what is this typing any guff? There we go. Access language. Right. Let's just go straight into this instant flight. That's what we want to do. Right, pressing fire button seems to do not very much. I've got no idea how this is supposed to be controlled. Pressing the mouse and keyboard button just seems to do that, so don't know. Ah, right, here we go. So I am actually... That's using the keys. Ah, right, okay, there we go. Got to say, using this accelerator thing in the Amiga really makes these games look nice. So yeah, if kind of flying a polygon aircraft was your thing, then you would probably want to check this game out. There we go. As the altitude plummets. 10,000, 9,000. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boof! There we go. That's Combat Flight. Combat Air Patrol. Right, this is Hired Guns. It was kind of one of these again, another strategy game. But you kind of control sort of like a team of people. Alright, F1. Try and knock over my computer. Ah, bollocks. Let's go for full campaign, even though I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. If I manage to get through this video and don't get a copyright claim, then I think I've done bloody well. Right, is it joystick? Surely not. turn that down a wee bit. Right, the mouse doesn't appear to do very much, and the joystick does even less. So it's possible alright, I've got to use the keyboard. Why didn't it use the keyboard when I have got a joystick and mouse? That's just silly. I'm sure this game was one of these multi-disc extravaganzas. Obviously, you know, you don't have these problems with the WHD load CF card type thing nowadays, so games play a lot better. Right, it's looking like, for some strange reason, that I'm having to use the keyboard, so I'm not going to be able to really demonstrate this game at all. Nah, bollocks to that. It's probably one that plug the joystick into the other port. So anyway, listen, I'm not going to mess any longer about this game. That's hired guns. You want to see this game getting played? Go and look somewhere else. That kind of tick. Now, obviously, we couldn't have this feature and not include Lemmings. You know, this is the very first one. I don't know how many versions of Lemmings came out. It was ported, one of these games, it was ported to pretty much every platform under the sun. Really nice game. I had actually moved away from the Amiga at that point, but I did get it on the PC, so let's see if I can still do it. So the funny thing was, you know, by the time when this game came out, people had were wanting amazing graphics or wanting amazing sound, and then this game had gone back to its basics, its very basic graphics, albeit really nice animation. Now, can I speed it up again? I can't remember. So if you've never played Lemmings, where have you been? The idea is you've got to try and direct these little guys to the exit, and then they bounce in. There we go, 100%. Let's have one more go. And you get down here, you've got a series of lemmings with different skills. So I've got 10 who carry a little umbrella, which you'll see to turn out one into an umbrella. You just basically click as they walk through the cursor. But this is a real gem of Psygnosis, it really is. Oops, a daisy. Hopefully that's enough. Yep, I've got 9 out of 10, that'll do. One more. Right, so this one, you've got blockers, so what you need to do is make sure they don't fall to their death. Let's increase the number that's going to be here. Come on. Why is that? Ah, bollocks. I'd clicked away from it. Right, I've probably made an arse of this level. So now, that's them all directed to the exit correctly. But it's an absolute joy. If you've never played this game, go and check it out, guys. It's brilliant. Yeah, that's Lemmings. There were various other Lemmings. I mean, let me have a look. There was Holiday Lemmings, there was Christmas Lemmings, there was Lemmings 2 and 3 I think as well, but to me the original one is always going to be the best. It's the most simple one, and it's damned addictive. So yep, let's batter on. Okay, this is the Killing Game Show, released in 1990. So yeah, this is actually a really early one as well. And I'm sure it was a game that it looked alright, but it just didn't really do it for me. Presentation of these games was always top notch, as was the music as well. Right, so you kinda control what looks like a sort of walker out of Star Wars type thing. You can see there it's got nice reflections and that kinda going on. Whoops. Now that I hear the sound, I do remember the music was the one sort of standout thing for me, but I wasn't a big fan of the game. Oh. Ah, right, okay, so I can kind of walk on the walls, right. Shoot the colour books. It actually looks more like a sort of ostrich or something, or an emu with a large machine gun of sorts. Yeah, I mean graphically it's quite nice. It's just a bit meh for my liking. You know, the baddies aren't very, there's not a lot of imagination. Balls and black balls and books and I don't know what these are. Yeah, but anyway, that's the Killing Game Show. Okay, this is Leander. This was a platform type game released in 1991. Now if I remember rightly, this was actually quite nice. Yeah, I do remember this one. This was actually really nice. Very, very kind of consoleized, looked at kind of manga. I mean, silky smooth graphics, scrolling's excellent, graphics are really nice. Ah, bollocks, I should have bloody known that, dearie me. Is it my imagination or am I actually changing colour? Looks rather nasty. I'm sure it was blue when I started off, maybe not. Maybe it's just my imagination. Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, yeah, no, it's not, there you go, I've just changed to purple, so I'm guessing the colour depends or reflects your sort of status of health. Something like that. He just magically appeared. Anyway, yeah, that's Leander. That is quite a beautiful game. Like that, I'll need to go back to that one. Okay, this is Menace. A shoot 'em up, and this was released in 1988. Wow. Now I didn't buy this game, but my mate bought it. And I remember thinking, yeah, it was alright. It was alright. It had its shortcomings, but it did look kinda next gen. 1989, I mean a lot of people were still using 8-bit at that point. Quite a nice sound actually. Ah, I remember this. It's kind of an R-Type type game. To be fair, it's actually better than I remember it to be. I think what kind of put me off this game originally was the graphics don't look arcadey, you know, they're not sprites, they look like artwork. And the graphics just kind of look wrong for a shoot 'em up. At least that's what I thought back in 1988 or 1989, whenever it was. But you know what, revisiting it, you know, 30 years on, it actually doesn't look as bad as I remember it to be. Aye, that's Menace. Let's batter on. Right, this is Prime Mover, racing, motorcycle racing game released in 1993. Never even heard it. I'd moved on to the PC at that point, so I'm more intrigued to actually see how bad it is or how good it is. It's always a later game, so I'm hoping good things. Right, enough of that nonsense. Right, so it's forward to accelerate. Right, I've got to say this actually isn't bad at all. This isn't bad at all. This would not look out of place in an arcade back then. Now I'm guessing it's running a lot nicer on this Amiga than it probably would have on a basic Amiga 500, but this is actually pretty good. Really nice sensation of speed. It appears you just bash through things, you don't actually appear to get injured or anything when you crash into something. It must be a bit like the Lotus games where they had part of the licensing deal was that the cars were not actually damaged. But yeah, I've got to say the road in this is pretty good. Quite impressed with that. So yeah, that's Prime Mover. Let's take a look at another couple of games. Right, this is probably the most iconic game released by Psygnosis. It was classed as pretty much a monster game when it came out. The screenshots in the magazines, you know, just blew people's minds. And graphically, I've got to say the game did live up to all expectations. Unfortunately, the game itself never, but that's just my opinion. Yep, this is a mighty Shadow of the Beast. The sound is just phenomenal. In fact, I can tell you right now, this probably track is going to get my game taken. It's going to get a copyright thing slapped in it, but you know what, I'd rather have the music in it than to not have it, because the music is such a big part of Psygnosis games. So anyway, enough of that, let's take a look at the game. How do we start? Is it space? I think it might be. I don't know why you have to press spacebar when you've got a joystick here with a fire button on it. But yeah, I mean, graphically this game is just incredible looking. It really set the boundaries, you know, when people hadn't seen a game like this. Right, we get the idea he's going down a ladder. Do we really have to make it go quite as long as this? Right, after all of that, it looks like I can't actually get off the ladder, so back up we go. But yeah, I mean, you know, sound and graphically this game was incredible. Unfortunately, you know, my opinion is they didn't put very much gameplay in. The gameplay itself is pretty basic stuff, which was a shame because it certainly deserved better. Alright, perhaps a key would have helped. Smart sod. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many layers of parallax scrolling this game has got. But this game was really a showcase for just what the Amiga could actually do. See, it's just, I don't know, you don't get any real warning and stuff coming towards you, you know, it's just boom, like so. But you know what, the sound and the music in this game alone actually makes it worthwhile putting this game on. You know what I mean, they've come up with some amazing looking baddies and then you punch it in the nose and it just falls underground like so. You think they could have done a bit more with the sort of the combat side of things. It just feels kind of thrown together. I mean, you know, the graphics and sound are just extraordinary, but it doesn't really do it justice. The gameplay really lets it down. Oh, bloody hell. It! Killed by a large, I don't know what the hell that is, a large clawed hand or something, is it? Anyway, listen, that is Shadow of the Beast. Let's take a look at a couple other games. Okay, this is Shadow of the Beast number 2. Okay, and it was a game I never actually had this game back in the day. I have played it under emulation. It's got a rather nice little intro, but we're not going to watch the intro, let's just crack on with the game if we can. Once again, it just it retains the same level of detail with the sound and the graphics. Beautiful looking. Now what they have done with the second game is they've improved the gameplay an awful lot. It's kind of got more an arcadey look to it than the first one. The first one was more kind of, I don't know, arty looking. This is more like a game. This is what a game should look like. Now there was a third game, which I'm not going to bother showing because I think we've looked at enough Shadow of the Beast games, but yeah, apparently that's meant to be pretty good as well. Again, really stylish graphics. Awesome sound as well, isn't it? Right, come on, let's just have one more go. Right, it doesn't really want to let us play again for some strange reason. I always think games should allow you to skip past things. We shouldn't be forced to listen to music, because when you listen to it the first time it's amazing. The second time it's like, yeah, okay. Third and fourth time you're getting fed up of it. You should be able to just press a button to skip right past. Right, let's go this way for a change. What the hell was that? What the hell? Now I don't know if you could actually have sound effects, because it always just seemed to be the music that you got. But you can see there they've got the graphics in these games, they've got a real distinctive look to them. This is definitely a much better game. And I'm dead. Anyway, yep, that is it. Let's take a look at the last game, guys. That is Shadow of the Beast 2. Okay, this is the very last game I'm going to look at, guys. This is Pteropods. This was released in 1987. Now, this game, there's a lot of memories attached to this game for me. When I first started going up to the computer shop, the guy had an Atari ST, the guy that owned the shop, and he used to be playing this game. And you know, bear in mind, we were playing the Commodore 64 Spectrum, and he used to have this game running on his Atari ST, and it just looked absolutely incredible. I could never really figure out what he was doing, and having played the game myself since, I've got no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. It actually looks quite like a very, very simplistic game. Now, you've actually got to use the keys like so. Don't know how to actually shoot or anything. Let's try and see if I can play it down here, so I can get closer to the keyboard. I've got no idea how to actually shoot. It actually looks like a very, very simplistic game, but yeah, it looked like next generation to us kind of 8-bit kids. Yeah, you've got these kind of sort of walker type things wandering about. I'm really not quite sure what they're actually doing. So yeah, that's Pteropods. So anyway, guys, listen, I want to draw this video to a close now. There's looking at the this website here, there was a total of 71 games released on Amiga by Psygnosis. There was a lot of amazing looking games, and I think there was a lot of pretty poor games as well, but there'll always be a company that are remembered for really pushing the boundaries of the Commodore Amiga, you know, both graphically and sonically. So yeah, go and check them out. So anyway, guys, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this this little video. Please stick your comments below, and as usual, thank you very much for watching.